A quick 2-day stint so that the other decorator didn't have to work 7 days in a row because nobody wants to do that. Been there. It sucks. But I was really excited.
¿Qué es lo que tú haces revisándome el celular?
Yo no estoy revisando el teléfono.
¿Y qué es lo que tú estás haciendo entonces?
Ya me te están transfiriendo.
Wi-Fi.
Sí, transfiriendo, no sé cómo lo oyes.
Right back into it, and it was
so
nice to see my old coworkers. Though I really did have to hit the ground running because there was so much to do. There was a ton of cakes missing from the case, and if you don't have any of that kind in the back freezer, then you typically have to make 6 of each kind at a time.
¿Y para qué voy a perder tiempo yo revisándolo, Mientras lo puedo aprovechar haciendo una transferencia, como la que me hice ahora.
Order to do because it was a Monday, and it might not be super exciting for you guys to watch, but this is just like a standard grocery store cake order. And everyone was happy that it was simple because time was of the essence. Fun to be back though. This cake was my last order at the grocery store, and it's a cake that I've never made before. I've heard of it, but I've never made one. And that is a Black Forest cake, and the order form only said traditional Black Forest cake, chocolate cake, cherry filling, and whip icing. And at first, because I didn't really know what that was, I was like, is it supposed to be a chocolate whip icing? And so I googled it, and it is vanilla whip. I also looked at some pictures to see how they were traditionally decorated to get a feel for what I should do. They pretty much all had some sort of chocolate shavings or pearls on the outside, maybe a chocolate drip, and cherries on top. Simple, but I was liking it. And a lot of you guys have been saying that you've missed my grocery store decorating videos, and this is the last one for now, but you never know, I might pop back in now and again. It was definitely a nice little change of pace compared to just doing cakes at home. Anyway, I wish I had some fresh-looking cherries for the top, you know, like the normal green stems, but maraschino cherries will have to do, and they got the job done. I also boxed this cake up, and then luckily remembered that I forgot to write the birthday message on top, and then she was done. What do you guys think? Whenever a client orders a cake in a style that I've either never tried before, or I'm just not super comfortable with, I like to clarify, like, yes, I will do it and I will try my absolute best, but I can make no guarantees. Just in case it doesn't turn out exactly perfect or like everything we were dreaming of. Obviously, I would love it if every single cake I touched was like an amazing, perfect work of art. That'd be freaking awesome, but unfortunately, I'm just a little human and I'm honestly still learning. Anyway, all of that to say that this is I just short-circuited. This was a design that I really liked and I wanted to try it. It was just a little different for me. And you may be thinking it's just a bunch of colorful squiggles and swirls placed randomly, but I think I have a problem with placing things quote-unquote randomly and having them look natural and good. But I'm working on it. Oh, and I also tried throwing my sprinkles onto the side of the cake, but my buttercream had already crusted so they wouldn't stick, and I pretty much had to hand place almost every single one. But what do you think? This is the best way to grease your cake pans, or even for brownies, muffins, whatever. Not a corner will be stuck, and all you need is butter, flour, and a neutral taste of oil, like vegetable or avocado. Give it a good mix until it's nice and smooth, and then it's ready to go. Just brush it on your baking pan, and you don't need much, just make sure you get all the mix and things. Store the leftovers in the fridge, and it's going to take you a long time to get through it all. Just put it in the Ziploc bag in the freezer, and it'll thaw real quick whenever you need it. And look at that, perfect release every time. I would honestly hate this cake. I was on a time crunch, very frustrated, started all over, and then had a really interesting time delivering it. So, a little bit of backstory. There's a young man who goes to my parents' church. He's from Mississippi, but he's here for the summer for an internship. And his girlfriend flew out this weekend, and he wanted to propose to her on the beach. And not knowing anybody from this area, he asked if my parents would help him set it up so that it all could be a surprise for her. Of course, they said yes, and my mom wanted to gift him an engagement cake, and so that's what I'm making now. And I was trying to rush so I could get over there and help them set everything up. And the guy, Dylan, had sent my parents a screenshot of a map with a pin of where he wanted the proposal to be set up. It was really hard to tell where it was, so we went like around a point, past a long, super rocky section, then a ton of seaweed, just hoping we're setting up in the right place. We found a little cove so you couldn't see the setup from down the beach, but there was a big hunk of rusty old boat in the background. But I was like, shoot, let's just throw some seaweed on it and try to camouflage it. So I was like running laps from the seaweed pile to the cove. I got tar under my fingernails. Everyone was sweating and stressed, but we got it done, walked all the way back down the beach, and then we were just stressed hoping that they would get there soon because the tide was starting to rise. It was a whole thing, but they loved it, and that's all that matters. This cake was a first for me because I've never done a cake standing up in like this half circle shape before, but I was really excited to do it because they sent a couple inspiration pictures to me and they were all very cute. I feel like if I do more of these, I could get better at icing them just because I feel like I could have done it more effectively or better. Hopefully I get to do more in the future, but if you can't already tell, it is going to be a bear. And I asked their permission if I could add 2 details to the cake. One was a mini cake, so it looked like the bear had his own. And it was partially selfishly motivated because if you've seen my other videos, you may know that I love making miniature cakes. But also, it just looks adorable with the bear, so it's a win-win situation. But I kept it pretty simple with the piping, and then I popped it in the freezer for a good bit of time so that it wouldn't get mussed up when I tried to lift it off the cake board. The other thing I asked if I could add was this little party hat. And the best part was I already had ice cream cones on hand, so I just cut it down so that it would be more bear size and then just stuck it right on its head. Then it just needed the mini cake and it was complete. Let me know what you guys think of this little bear and the extras. This has got to be one of my favorite cake decorating hacks. If you're trying to get darker or more vibrantly colored icing, the immersion blender is the way to go. And it's so simple and easy. Just add a bit of your food coloring, mix it all up, and then take an immersion blender to it and continue mixing it on up. It sounds like sorcery, but apparently it's just homogenizing the mixture and distributing the particles more evenly and giving you a beautiful, more saturated color. And it's kind of a twofer because it makes your icing so silky and smooth and it just knocks all the extra air out of it. So if you're struggling with air bubbles in your frosting, you should definitely give this a try. And it also works exceptionally well with red and black buttercream, which are 2 of the hardest colors to achieve. It's gonna save you from using tons and tons of food coloring trying to get that darker color, which is great because it's not awesome for your health and it'll save you money. There's also the microwave method for getting darker colors where you take out a small portion of your dyed icing, melt it down a little bit in the microwave, and then mix it back in. And while it does work, it's not my favorite just because it does change the consistency of your icing, and for me it just made it too runny to use right away. Let me know if you give it a try. Children know what they want. That's just what it is. And the theme of this cake needed to be Lego Jurassic Park lightsaber. And when I first heard those 3 things, I was like, okay.
Hablamos ahorita, Nicole.
Es que tenga tienda que la tienda.
In a way that made sense.
O si no que la venda.
You know what I mean?
¿Cómo así,
And this
Nicole?
cake
Yo agarré y me busco otro para que la tienda.
Houston, who turned
De una
5.
vez.
It was a chocolate
¿Qué es lo que tú me
2-tiered
estás
cake, and I knew I
insinuando
wanted
ahí,
to do a
Tiri?
Es que tenga tienda que la tienda. O si no que la venda.
To
O
personalize
si
it,
no
I
le da la
added this
oportunidad
name
a otro
plate
para
and
que
the
venga
Lego
y la
style
tienda.
font that I cut out of fondant.
Nicole,
and it
mira,
took quite a bit of
mujer,
time,
deja de
but I
estar hablando
loved how
así,
it
por
turned out.
favor.
And then Tiny Dinosaurs, I wanted to do a chocolate drip
Si
with
tú
some
quieres, yo me
crushed
busco
Oreos
otro
on the
para que atienda
top to
tu
look like the
tienda.
ground,
Ya que tú
and
no la
then
quieres
put the
atender.
dinosaur up there.
Bueno, yo te
They actually gave
atiendo
me
a
the
ti,
dinosaur
mujer.
toys out
Y
of
mira
his
cómo te va.
personal toy
Es que
collection,
tenga
which was
tienda,
super
que la
handy.
tienda.
Plus, they already had little
O si
Lego
no, que la
lightsabers. And then they also
venda.
picked
Pero
out an
no,
extra
pues,
boy
un
and
ratito
girl
que yo
Lego
voy a
Christian's
salir.
brother
Vete
and
con
brother
Dios,
and
que yo
sister,
me
which
busco
was
otro para que
very
me
cute.
atienda.
I had made
Ay,
these Lego
Dios
pieces out of
mío.
candy
Así de
a
fácil.
couple on the
Esto
cake,
nunca
and
había
the rest went
visto
on
en la vida
cupcakes. I have to
real.
say,
Si
this
no me
might be my
atiendes tú, me
favorite cake
atiende el
I've ever
otro.
made. I was so happy
Y si
with
no
how
me
it turned
atiende el
out,
otro,
but
pues me
of course,
busco
let me
otro.
know what you guys think.
No, pero
I've
esta
never
mujer está
really
hablando como
dabbled in
vainas raras.
shaped
Espérate,
cakes before. I
Nicole.
think I've maybe done
Ven,
one or
anda
two
conmigo,
very
hombre.
simple
Me voy a
and
dar.
small
No
ones,
te tienes
and
que ir
that's
out.
it.
Así es
So
que
I'm
se hace,
very
que
ambitious
tienda,
with
tienda, que
today's
la
cake, and
tienda.
it's actually going to be donated to a
Y tú
charity
tienes tu tienda y
organization
me vas a
that
atender.
matches
Si
volunteers
no me
to
busco
bake
otro
cakes
para que
for
me
kids
atienda
who
mejor.
are in foster care or overcoming youth adversity. This one's for a boy named Brian. He's turning 15,
Anda,
and he
vete,
requested a
Nicole.
chocolate cake
Tú no
with
vas a hallar
Oreo
una
filling.
gente que te
And then the
aguante
request
tu
also
peleadera y
said
tu
that he is
vaina,
highly
mujer.
talented both in
Oíste,
music and
porque
art,
ni tu
and if
madre
it's
te
possible to get
aguantaba
a
que te
guitar-shaped
sacó
cake,
antes
that
de
would be
tiempo de la
incredible.
casa de
If
ella,
not, then
oíste.
just a guitar and music themed one.
Un
And
hombre
I
no lo vas a
thought, well,
encontrar
what
que
the
te
heck,
aguante
I'm
con
just
tu
going to go
peleadera y
for
tu
it and hope
vaina.
for the
Así que
best.
te puede ir,
Obviously, I'm
mujer.
not going for a
Ándale.
super realistic look.
Anda.
I mainly was just hoping and
Vaya
praying you
con
would be
Dios,
able to
con
tell it
todo
was a
lo que
guitar.
recogió
And in the
también,
beginning, I was
hombre.
very
A ver qué
concerned because it
hombre le va a
mainly
estar
just looked like
aguantando esta mujer,
a
esa
weird
peleadera y esa
violin. It felt like
vaina,
these strings took forever to put on.
Ay,
They were
pero
just so
Nicole.
fragile and they kept
Ay,
breaking.
espérate, mujer.
And then since I had so much
Era
extra room on the
relajando que
cake
yo
board, I
estaba,
decided
mi
to add a
amor.
happy birthday message,
¿Y
and
qué vas a
then the
montar
other
ahí?
side looked empty and unbalanced,
Ay,
so
pero
I
no
threw
puedes
on some music
relajar con
notes.
esta mujer.
When I got to the agency to drop the cake off, the
pues,
lady
ya
said
que
that
se
a lot
fue
of
la
these kids have
mujer.
actually never had birthday cakes before,
Ay,
so
la
if you feel like
suegra.
whipping up a cake, I'll leave
La
the
hija
info below.
suya
I don't
fue
know
con
why I do this
otro.
to myself. If I have a
Llámala
cake
y
pickup for, say,
aconsejala.
a later Saturday
Es un buen
morning, I'll
hombre.
decide, okay, I'm gonna fully decorate the cake on Friday so
Ahora
that it's
Nicole no
ready
me
to
lo
go for the
coge,
morning. I don't have to
hombre.
worry about trying to
Esto
finish it
pa'
the
que
day
lágrima.
of, because then I can just relax and take my time and not be under pressure.
Mírame a los
But
ojos,
then,
mujer.
somehow, some
Yo
way,
te fui
Friday
infiel,
rolls
Nicole.
along and I decide,
Le voy a hacer una
I'll just
broma a
wake
mi
up early and finish it
mujer.
in
Le
the
voy a
morning.
decir que
Not
le fui
smart.
infiel.
Because first of
Como
all,
soy
I'm the type
yo,
of
y no
person
quiero
that really
visitar ni quiero
cherishes
que
my
nadie
8
relaje
hours of
conmigo,
sleep.
que
And
no
if I
estoy para
don't get
relajo.
it, I'm
Hoy amanecí yo
fine.
con
I'm
todos los
just,
apellidos
I'm not
montados.
happy about it
Estoy
all
hasta
the time.
nervioso.
And going to bed that night,
Pero
I'm
quiero ver
already
la
getting stressed
reacción
because
de
my wheels won't
Nicole.
stop turning
Voy a
about what I
poner
need
esta
to do for the
cámara aquí a
cake.
grabar.
I do it all to myself. And it does always end up
Nicole.
fine, and I
Te
get the
tengo
cake
que
finished
confesar
by the
algo,
pickup window, though I
mujer.
usually do cut it pretty close.
Pero prométeme que no te vas a alterar, por favor.
That is what I did with this cake.
No te vas a alterar, Nicole.
And other than being
Emma, te lo voy a
anxious
decir
about
porque
finishing
me
it
quiero
in time,
desahogar
I
para salir de esa vaina.
I was nervous about my placement of things.
Mírame los
throughout
ojos,
the process,
mujer.
but in the end, I really liked how it
Yo
turned
te
out.
fui
And of
infiel,
course,
Nicole.
let me know what you guys think.
Nicole, espérate, mujer. Mira con que una broma, mira.
Okay, this is
Ya yo no vuelvo a
basically
relajar,
a cake
Nicole.
of his
Yo espero que esto te
outfit,
sirva de
I guess, and
experiencia,
it's for a kid's
¿oíste?
party.
Ay.
I've been
Obvio,
doing
como
quite
mamá
a
y
few
ni la
cakes for
cuenta.
kids lately, and I've been having so much fun with them. I feel like there's so many different themes. The colors are fun, or there's, I don't know, require techniques that I haven't really tried before. Like this one. I've never made a cake of an outfit before. It's fun. You may have guessed who this is already. It probably helps if you haven't already seen the thumbnail, but he does in fact have a belt buckle. I don't think the buckle in itself is notable. It does have a specific design because I googled it, but I didn't know what it looked like before this at all. I'm doing it in this yellowy color because I'm gonna paint it with edible gold glitter later anyway, so I didn't really care what color it was for now. I also did some little random cow print blobbies on the vest and gave it some trim. They had their own toppers to go on top of the cake, but they also wanted to include his hat because who is Woody without his hat? So I made a little one to pop on the side, and that was it. What do you think? I gotta be honest, I think this might be one of the cutest cakes I've made in a while. I recently made one of these half circle cakes for the first time, and I was so happy to get more orders for them because I just think they lend themselves so well to so many cute designs. The first one I did was a bear, and this one is a Care Bear. She does look a little wild in the beginning, but just stick with me, she gets better. The Care Bears were a bit before my time. I looked it up and it said they were most popular during the mid-'80s, which was earlier than I expected. I also tried looking at a list to figure out which bear